Hello and welcome to this segment of This is Glendale. I'm Bet Chorus, and with me today is Mark Barnett, Martin Sinat. Today we're featuring the new mural that's in progress, and we have two of the best people to tell us about it, the artist and the historian that was involved with the original one. Well, you want to talk about the original one and how that came about? Were you working together with that at that point?
No, actually 15 years ago, Dr. Todd was the mayor at the time, and I proposed to put a mural on the wall. I used to drive by here all the time. I grew up in Glendale, and I just noticed a blank canvas, and I was in art school at the time, trying to build a resume of work, of fine art. And so I proposed it to the village council, and they gave me the green light. And so I painted it first with house paint, and it survived about 15 years till it started to peel and fade. And this time around, I'm going to use an enamel type of paint and see if I can get maybe 20 years out of it this time.
That's great.
Yeah, the process consists of tracing it. At night, I use a projector and use the original image. And then I can play with the size of it and where exactly I want it located on the wall with a projector. And once I'm happy with it, I set it up, and then I trace it with Sharpie markers. And then just start filling it in like a giant coloring book, essentially, with just the different shades of a dark color. So I'm using it's called ink. So I can lighten that up to get the mid-tones and the light tones. And then it should be good to go. It's an enamel paint, so it should have a good long life.
That's terrific.
Thank you.
And Martin, what was your involvement with the mural?
My involvement was when I saw the original mural whitewashed over. I became concerned that we were losing a rather significant piece of Glendale's heritage.
As everyone in the village did,
Yeah.
who didn't know.
So that was the time I started to get involved with suggesting that we refinance a mural on that wall. And I started to do a little research into what could go on that wall. And eventually we ended up with what you see there.
Which is basically, you were telling me, the original mural with some modifications. Do you want to tell me what maybe the major...
Mainly I lowered it a little bit. So when I did it originally, it was a little too high. And so this time around, I got to kind of do a better placement, put it inside that power line that's there. And instead of doing it in a sepia tone, which was kind of a brown old photo type, which wasn't how the original photo was done, I'm going to try to have it resemble the original photograph more closely. So it's true to the original photograph. That I can't remember the gentleman's name that took the photo, but try to represent his photo as best I can.
That's where Martin comes in.
Yeah, his name was F. Glesner, and we don't know what the F stood for, but he came through Glendale at the end of the Civil War and took photographs of several of the buildings, including the depot. And we still have the original glass negatives in the collection of Glendale Heritage Preservation.
That's terrific. There is also something, though, that this one, I've noticed that the rails are more pronounced and more extended, and I think you are to thank for that, perhaps. Martin?
Yes. I'm also the editor of the Glendale Heritage Preservation newsletter. And I decided to do an article on this particular photograph. And at the encouragement of a train enthusiast. And he pointed out to me that there were parallel rails. They're known as straddle rails because the Cincinnati, Hamilton and Dayton Railroad used a narrower gauge than the Atlantic and Great Western Railroad, who both came through here. So they had to have different gauge rails in order to provide rails for their different stock.
And are they still in existence?
No.
Rails? No, I would have, because when I walked, after you mentioned that to me, I thought, I'm not seeing them. So I thought maybe there was a section where they were held.
No, in 1877, everyone standardized to one gauge, which is what we use today.
That makes a lot of sense. Is there anything else you would like to comment or talk about with respect to the mural?
I was just happy to hear that everybody was eager to have it repainted and put up there again. So I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
We're very grateful. We loved the first one. We know we're going to love this one
Great.
just as well.
Thank you.
The depot that's pictured in this mural is the old depot, which was built in 1853. And it burnt down 20 years later when a spark from a locomotive landed on its roof.
Oh my.
And it was rebuilt 3 years after that in 1877. And that's the depot that we see in the square today.
And when was the most recent renovation or repair work done in the museum? I know
Now,
it was a constant battle with old buildings.
Now, the village bought the depot off CSX in 1995.
Okay.
And they rented it out to Glendale Heritage Preservation, who set about renovating it into their current museum, office, and archives.
Great. And are they still the owner, or does the village own it at this point?
The village is the owner.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you both very much. This has been a delightful educational opportunity for me, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well. This is Bet Chorus, thanking you for watching. This is Glendale.